What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your daily creative reading for September 15th. I just had to double check the date. Oh my goodness. It's been one of those weeks. One of those weeks. Oh, hang on. Do you want to clear the deck, boo boo? There you go, baby. Thank you. Okay. She's cleared the deck. The energy is free. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for September 15th, please? Okay, for September 15th. I'm seeing some of that, like, the Emperor's Journey again, where we started the week. That, like, Emperor Journey. What's this? Hope floats. That's lovely. Reminds me, I went on a hike this morning. I didn't do any running because with the weather, my joints and my hips are like, whoa. So I went up for a hike to this trail and they had a fountain there. You should see footage of that coming to the channel at some point, be it through affirmations or otherwise. I'm working on some other content, but in the midst of an 8-day work week right now. And yeah, so things are a little bit 111 was just on the time. But it's all working out. Um, but yeah, so you'll see that coming. It is on its way. So let's dive in to see what today holds, my friends. Dear you, oh my, how very George Takei. Oh my, things are stirred up and change is upon you. This is cause for celebration. No need to be nervous, but know that it's okay to be afraid when faced with the uncertainties of life. The funny thing is that when courage doesn't get mustered up in let me try that again. The funny thing is that courage doesn't get mustered up in the absence of fear, rather in spite of it or even because of it. Step into the unknown now. Let go of the branch you are clinging to and let spirit take the wheel and help steer you to your highest good and most wonderful adventure. All you need to concern yourself with is choosing courage as your ally. Leave the rest up to us. There's a load of miracles being shipped your way. Remember what philosopher Joseph Campbell said? Take one step towards the gods and they will take 10 toward you. We're all doing the Destiny Cha-Cha on your behalf. That's right. Don't be afraid to dance. Loving you always. The Destiny Cha-Cha. Okay. That's, anyways, I'm in that kind of mood today. I don't know. It's just like one of those things. Okay, Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please? Oh, do you want to clear this one too, boo-boo? There you go, baby. Oh, thank you. I know, the corners are less sharp on that one. I know. Okay. She just loves to scratch her face on stuff. So, Spirit, what message do you have for my daily creatives for September 15th, please? Messages for September 15th. She's just the sweetest. I know that it's like a tarot reading, but like, look at this. Look at this. Look at you. Anyway. Okay. Whoa. What's happening here? Hanged Man and Judgment. I just heard two sides of the same coin. Not sure what that's about. Two sides of the same coin, eh? What's up with that, Spirit? It's almost like perspective. Like both of these are coming across as a kind of perspective. Like taking perspective, holding perspective, doing something with that perspective. Whoa. Okay, let me just clear these properly. Because I know she's got superpowers to clear stuff. But they're a little bit clunky. Oh, you are right there? What? I can't not touch your tail. She hates her tail being touched, so she's absolutely just not having it. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So we have the Hanged Man, Judgment, 10 of Wands. So the Hanged Man and Judgment, I'm getting this as like kind of the call. The refusal is almost like, it feels a little bit like the, oh wow. Wow. Owen Wilson. Wow. It feels a little bit like what I'm seeing here is there's the call is like making a decision, but I almost feel like there's like this holding yourself back a little bit. it's not holding yourself back a little bit, like two sides of the same coin. Like you already know your stuff. You already know your stuff. And it's almost like the hanged man you think is like a future orientation, like a future perspective. But then judgment is like, it's like doing something with it. So it's like the motion and the pause. So it's almost like it is coming across as like an integration of these energies as the call. So it's like integrating the pause, but making sure that the pause is a motion in this picture that we're painting today, or that Spirit's painting for us, I should say. The Ten of Wands here is part of this refusal. Now, what I find quite intriguing is that part of the call, it's almost like these are associated here. The Ace of Cups is like something that's making your heart absolutely sing, be it a person, a place, a situation, whatever it is. There's something that you're recognizing as for you, but it's like it's like it's calling to you. It's calling to you. Yeah. It's calling to you. It's like I'm hearing call and answer. Um, but this Ten of Wands is, I think, part of this refusal. Like it's almost like a comfort zone. Maybe a comfort zone a little bit. Um, But it could also be that you think the Ten of Wands is wisdom, but the wisdom is actually the things that you do with where you've been and what you've seen, right? So that's kind of the summation of enlightenment, really, in this context, at least. It's like that sums up what enlightenment means. Um, the Ten of Wands and the Ace of Cups. Mm-hmm. Spirit, can you tell me a little bit more about the energies for today and this week ongoing, please? Knight of Wands, the Strength card, the Star. Wow. Okay. Um, so I got 3 here. Ooh, wow. The challenge today, wow, is the Empress, Emperor, and the 3 of Swords. Holy smokes. Okay, so because that's the Emperor and energy coming out again. This is such a beautiful journey. Okay, she's not using her little backpack bed, so I'm going to try and move this over. Okay. Queen of Swords, and we also have the King of Pentacles, and the World came out as well. Okay. I'm going to move my hematite. This reading's a bit of a doozy, just because the energy feels substantial. Like it's almost like I'm seeing like an arrow flying through the air. Like there's this like archer idea where it's like you see there's almost like a target that you're locked onto now, and not in a way that's like the I guess it's almost like there's something that you're aiming for now, because I feel like the Hanged Man was like not really aiming. Locked. Like there's something that you're like, oh, and I think that this was part of the refusal. What's interesting is that maybe this is what feels so big. Like there's something about this, like moving towards love, or this could be even grace that you're giving other people, compassion, forgiveness. But there's something that is making your heart go, that's, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like that becomes the oh, the archer. I didn't even notice this. This is a Knight of Swords. But there's no bow in it. So it's almost like the Knight of Swords this is the energy of what could become a tower if it goes unchecked. And I feel like this is like the movement energy here. The movement energy, the arrow, it's like the part of it that could become unchecked is, I'm hearing you almost forget that you are the arrow. You forget that you are the arrow, and it's like maybe the arrow is what you used to reach targets before, but the Queen of Swords is here, and I feel like there's like an Ace of Swords, like truth to an extent that is the new way of operating, as opposed to the arrow that you would aim at something and then you would go and get it. Like you would shoot it and see if it hit the target, but there's something more integrated here, back to this energy. There's like an integrated clarity. Because this is what you're waking up to today, right? That's the energy that you're waking up to today, or in this general terms. The protagonist energy is the strength. So again, this is very internal. This is Leo. So is it internal? Kind of, yes, but It's also external facing, but I feel like the lamb energy is the internal aspect, right? This is like soft power. This is soft strength. This is the kind of strength that doesn't kick down doors. This is the kind of strength that doesn't need to shout, because there's something about how you show up now, or how you're being called to show up now. And I almost feel like if you look outside of yourself too much, the star is very beautiful energy, but this is almost like if you look outside of yourself and too much to the externals as opposed to the internal, and expressing it externally, right? There's like the Leo energy of seeing and being seen, but then this star card is showing up as like disconnect from, it's almost like your North Star. I'm hearing North Node, but this disconnect from your North Star in terms of what, like, how you navigate, not just in the dark, but like, yeah, destiny written in the stars. These things are all coming through as well. And it's like losing yourself in the vision of that as opposed to grounding it in something. And that's where this energy of doing and movement, this movement, it's like I'm noticing and I'm seeing, and it's resonating right here, where it's like it doesn't, there's no arrow in this archer's bow necessarily. I don't see it, at least. It's very compact, but they're moving forward. They're moving to something, towards. Oh, I didn't pull for the overcoming of the challenge. The challenge is very interesting here. The Empress, the Emperor, and the Three of Swords. It's almost like the challenge is moving past. Like, it's like you've either integrated this masculine, feminine, or receptive and action-oriented energy within you, or this is counterpart energy coming into contact, right? Like this is Mars and Venus. I'm hearing not placements, aspects. I think there's something to do with Mars and Venus around now. I think it was Cam White. I thought I saw, like, I was just scrolling through YouTube briefly this morning before I went on my hike, and I thought I saw something about that. It could be the aspects right now, things that it's bringing up for you, the way that Venus and Mars are kind of, I think it's square, something like that. But I feel like that could be the square, and it's just bringing up past disappointments. And it's like, that's the challenge. The challenge is like and the way it's even showing up here, it's like you're already in contact in a way with these energies. These energies are already, like they're here, but the Emperor is kind of like looking at this heartbreak, and be it heartbreak or disappointment, there's like something that has to be overcome here. It's not huge. It certainly was painful, but the key is was, because it's not configured into this in a way that would suggest that it's getting between the Empress and the Emperor. It's showing that the Emperor's looking at this, it's almost like regarding it, but not doing anything about it. And it's almost like the chess piece is the thing, the way of seeing the conflict, the way of seeing the heartbreak, the way of seeing the disconnect is something that has now become a way that they understand. I want to say the game, but not the game. Like, it's not, I'm not thinking about it in terms of game or strategy. It's more the Aries energy of how to get something done and how to do things really well. And with the Empress energy complementing that, especially where it relates to Venus, it's this wonderful, and it's a deeply nurturing energy. So these two together, it's like reflecting on the disappointments in a way that's actually, it's like the challenge is allowing yourself to not just release it, but to complete the cycles with it, which also brings me to the World card here that came out with the King of Pentacles in terms of the main lesson that you're taking from this day's hero's journey or the journey this week, right? Spirit, what message do you have for this overcoming, the overcoming here? Because I feel like there's a lot of clarity that you're gaining, a lot of clarity. And I think it's just like, there's a better way of looking at things. And I feel like you're leaning into that, but it wasn't without like real conflict here. It wasn't without conflict. I don't know why I'm hearing this song. Accidentally in Love. Yeah, I have not watched or heard that in a while. Can't really watch a song, but like, it's like synonymous with Shrek. Come on, right? Like, what is going on? At least in my mind, it's synonymous with Shrek. Like, okay, Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives? This overcoming. The overcoming we have, wow, the Magician, the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Ten of Pentacles. So I almost feel like it's like you're manifesting and drawing things in. You may feel like you can't see it, but you can feel it. The 10 of Pentacles is like, I feel like this is where the earth signs have this depth of intuition. People often say like, man, material things. No, no, no. Mm-mm. There's a depth of intuition that's slightly different from the other elements that I've noticed at least. But the way I see it is this like grounded discernment and ability to see through the details. But there's also another aspect to it that's hard to pin down, which is exactly why I love it so much. I think about it in terms of the synesthesia that I experience when I'm out in nature and how it's like nature speaks back, right? Through that. So it's almost like this sort of callback. But this, the Magician and the Ace of Pentacles, this is like there's new that you're pulling in, but you have to be really, this is like, are you willing? Are you willing to let the Ace of Pentacles, the small seed, become the 10? Because I feel like what this is telling me here is the challenge is understanding your own power, not just to create, not just to love. Understanding that you have a right to love and be loved in this lifetime, right? That is something. Oh, the star is coming along for a ride, or the ride. Maybe there's something to that though, right? Where it's like what are you letting be your guiding light, right? There's a lot of variations here. And it's like the Ace of Cups is the one that comes from within you. But it's like the Magician here, this is also Gemini energy. And something I noticed, there was a reading that I watched, and the way it was the Magician in reverse. And it was the way that it like, I noticed that it made the infinity with this. And like the completion was like the infinity is part of the figure in this card, right? It almost looks like that to me. Especially if you hold it like this, like you can see it. Anyways, I'll stop like fondling the card. But it's almost like you're part of the infinity that you're drawing from. You got a dip there, my darling? What you doing? She's so hesitant. You got stuff to do? Or are you gonna sit tight? Okay, it's up to you. But there's this infinity that you're drawing from here, right? You're drawing from this infinity and drawing from infinity. It's like remembering that there's so much power that you have as an aspect of this. There are new opportunities. I feel like there's one that is going to stand out among others, but it's almost like if you're not feeling like this is part of the enough, right? This is part of the being enough. And it's almost like the Emperor is looking at this here and deciding. It's almost like you have to decide. And there's not much in the way of decision cards here. I mean, Two of Swords and Judgment. My bad. I take that back. But it's like, because they are decision cards, but it's like, it's not deciding between people or deciding between opportunities. It's like you're deciding about you, and that might feel kind of uncomfortable, this because I feel like the Empress energy is one that's of giving, and so this is also like an outward focused card, seeing and being seen, like a lot of externally facing energies in conversation with the energy that you have within you. But I almost feel like there's like a going within that you've got to do here, because this information, this creation isn't coming from outside, it's coming from in out, right? So that is a thing too. You know what's coming to mind right now? Okay, so story time. Today I went for a hike and it was just beautiful. Not doing as much running because of my joints in the seasons. It's my favorite season, but I still like it. Just anyways. So I went on this hike and I saw a sign that said "Love is for everyone" on the way on the hike and to the hike, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna stop by and just get some footage of the sign. But then I saw that they had I saw a sign that said espresso, and I was like, oh, that's the song of my people. So I went in just to see this little shop in this, like, it's literally like a town that has like it's not big at all, but there was a general store and they had this coffee shop, and I've never had it before, but I had like a lavender, I think it's like lavender and honey latte or something like that. And it was just looking around the shop. There were all these like beautiful reminders and this vital, like this connection, this vitality. And I was talking to the owner a little bit. They had gluten-free peanut butter cookies. I was like, oh, again, amazing. Like, I'm more savory than sweet. Like I just, anyways. So, but it was just the reason why this is coming to mind is it's like you may think you can't see, but it's just doing something that takes you out of a norm, that puts you in a place of allowing, that puts you in a place where you're just delighting in things, right? If I edit it, I'll put the there was like this screen that was, most places have the screens in front of tills and things like that still, especially in food service because of the pandemic. And it's almost like it was just decorated with this little reminder, which I'll put here. I'm going to put 2011 just so that I know the time to reference back to. But it said like something like, you look lovely today. And I was like, oh, like the pandemic screen is a way that we separate, but then there's these little reminders of togetherness. And then, the date, that was this glass panel in the date that it was, that the little shop was made or, founded or whatnot, but it used to be an inn. It was 1888. So I saw 888 first. And, but it's just this reminder, I think. It's like, love is for everyone, number one. And that's like, it's almost like that's why it's like, that's it. Maybe you thought that it was just like not for you. I know I have moments too or had, and even recently where I'm like, what's the point? But it's okay to feel those frustrations, but you just can't count yourself out of the equation. You can't count yourself out of the equation and make decisions. I've heard this before, like don't make long-standing decisions or don't let beliefs formulate and don't make decisions that become beliefs when you're upset, right? The same thing, like, don't like if things get to too much of a head, don't try to engage in what will eventually just become a really hurtful discussion if emotions get too heated, right? Like, and it's almost like pulling back, like don't make decisions from a place that isn't seeing all the details. And I almost feel like you're being called not just to see the light from within you, but like the light of your own heart, like letting that guide you, where it's like before it was just like these, I reference it often, but because I don't want to not cite it, but Sassy Scorpion Tarot talks about your guiding principles, right? Like when your guiding principles are outside of you and you don't remember to put this in the equation, it kind of becomes a refusal, so that your best decisions and your best aspects kind of are missing something, right? Like there's this light that's within you, but there's this, it's like a seasoning, right? A seasoning? The seasoning. I'm not seeing cooking, though I love to do that, but I'm seeing like a way of translating a shift into seasons, like a different season, a new season, specifically with this world here. And I feel like it's one of abundance. That's the main lesson here, is like listening to the seasons of abundance in your life and paying attention to those things. And I feel like this is also paying attention to the signs, but allowing yourself to trust in something. Like an ace may not seem like a lot, but it also comes from spirit. And you may feel like there may be an inclination to believe that this is like of, your own power, which is in part true. Yes, very much so. However, there's also an aspect of this where you have to trust yourself. And that's the overcoming. It's like you're trusting yourself. You're trusting in the tent of pentacles. The tent of pentacles. It sounds like a stop on a video game, like on the way through, like a Super Mario thing or whatever. Like, and now for the tent of pentacles. Anyway, you have to trust that the 10 is your 10. But the thing is that you have to make this. This is you. 2323 was just on the time. This is your input, right? This is what you want, not necessarily, information from the outside. Yeah, and that's where this Queen of Swords is like the integration of that. Most people see it as like an emotional detachment, but I see it as making decisions where you're allowing what you want to land in the space of logic, because when it becomes logic, then it becomes something that you can actually see in the world. You felt it first, but now it's like this recognition. You have to put the cup aside for a moment because you're seeing the pathway there. Emotions are very important in manifesting, yes, and I feel like you have them here, right? You have them here. But there's something about a shift more into being able to see it, like believing it because you believed it before you saw it. Like, And you don't have to know all the details, right? On my vision board up here, it says, I'm turning this over to the higher intelligence of the universe within me to guide me in creating it. And then at the top of it, it says, these or something better are now manifesting for me in totally satisfying and harmonious ways for the highest good of all concerned, right? So it's like those like, and it bookends on the top and then the bottom. There's stuff in between, but it's like the higher intelligence is almost what this is like connecting to. And it's showing you the path where it's like, you might have had a big picture before, but this is like step by step, you're getting somewhere. You're getting somewhere. And I think that that's what this Ten of Pentacles is really speaking to. And it's like, you don't have to have the whole destination in mind. There's no house in the background. There's no job. It's just, you have to know what's most important to you. And interestingly, this too is its own light. This too is its own guiding light for you. And sometimes these things seem so obvious, and then other times it's not that it's not obvious. And sometimes we get into a place of feeling like we can tint the way that this expresses with shame or something along those lines, because we can think, well, I should have known that. You shouldn't have known anything, because you're learning as you go, right? And you wouldn't say to a baby who's learning how to, or a kid who's learning how to tie their shoes, like, you should have known how to do that. You loop, swoop, and pull, right? You should have this, you should have that. No. So why do you talk to yourself that way if you do, right? And I think about that in the realm of like, when we feel embarrassed about something, sometimes it's like this honest vulnerability and accountability. But it's also just this like this feeling that we can get where we disconnect from our good because we move towards shame internally. And then, it's I don't know why I'm getting that here, but that could be this too. Like, maybe you had the challenge is just overcoming the fear or the shame that's associated with wanting this kind of energy of creative abundance and action-oriented getting it done and putting it into the world, or a really beautiful relationship, right? There could be this feeling like you shouldn't have that. You can't have that. Like I say that I tend to animate the voice like inner critics like that, because then it sounds ridiculous and it's a lot easier to manage. But, yeah. You are pulling things in. I'm just going to do a little clarification here, because I'm trying to understand how this challenge, the depth of this challenge here. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives in terms of this challenge, please? Empress, Emperor, Three of Swords. 10 of Swords. Whenever it is, it's done. I'm hearing pain. The pain that you experienced was not without purpose. And it's almost like that's where it's like, it's giving back now, Interesting. 6 of Pentacles on the bottom, which in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot is a charitable exchange, but I see it more as reciprocal giving and taking. Wow. Okay. So the 6 of Pentacles and the High Priestess. Spirit, what additional messages do you have to clarify this challenge, please? 2 of Swords on the 2 of Swords. Oh, I see. The Tower. 6 and the 2. I mean, I feel like after what seems like a pretty rough go of things, there's this inner knowing, right? We have the Empress and the High Priestess, 2 very receptive energies, one receptive in the 3D. And interesting, what I'm seeing is that the receptivity of the 3D is actually the birthing of something, right? The putting something into the world. And the High Priestess is the knowing that there's no need to feel guilty. Why is this coming through this way, Spirit? I mean, not why, but thank you. Yeah, I don't know why. It's almost like this guilt, like it was like the water wasn't breaking in the womb of the thing that you're making. So it's like it was holding on, and there's a knowing, like the High Priestess is saying you can let this go because this is essentially the womb. And it's like there's so many of these that you're going to encounter. This could be to do with some of the eclipses in October, the nodal axes as well. Two of Swords in the Tower. I feel like when you do make a decision, you move towards what really matters most to you. Two of Cups. If this isn't about relationships, I'm going to feel like it is. But it's like, it's almost like there was like, this is coming to mind now too. When I have the car that I have now, I got it. I've told this story before, but when I first got it, the first week I was so like enamored with it. I was just so grateful that I could have a car that was that nice. Especially during a car shortage, I had it on my, all the details on my vision board. It was just lovely. I was so, I don't know. It was just, I was like, this is amazing. And I thought, I can't believe it. And then, I was in a parking lot and someone rear-ended me and it just cracked the bumper. So it was fine, right? No one was hurt. It was just annoying. I didn't pay anything. The other person didn't pay anything. It was just, it was a thing. But it's almost like you need to resist the urge to think to yourself, I can't believe it. I can't believe it with whatever it is that's manifesting, because you're making this manifestation happen, right? You're making this manifestation happen. But if you don't know what it is that your 10 of Pentacles are, you will feel like it's coming from somewhere outside of you. And you may be inclined to, I know I have PTSD, sometimes this can happen. You may believe that it's like, this is coming out of nowhere and I need to be cautious. But it's like, being cautious is one thing, but you don't have to see it through the lens of, the Tower is like, so this is beautiful. Thank you, Spirit. There's a song by Landon Austin, Once in a Lifetime. And that song talks about lightning doesn't strike twice. And I'm seeing that there's a difference between, it's like, this is the difference between hearing something like that in a song like that, as opposed to having lightning literally strike beside you, right? So if you have a perspective where lightning has struck beside you in life, right? The way that life has gone or whatever, something that was, shocking, no pun intended, or substantive and a little bit scary, right? And you could feel the heat from it. It didn't do anything overly, but it might have like shocked you or whatever. But it's like, there's ways that you can perceive this lightning in different ways. So if you go back to that feeling of lightning striking literally beside you, when you hear it in a song, it might, and a song just meaning in energy exchanged in people around you, in jobs that come your way, things like that. It's like you'll be inclined more towards the literal interpretation of it, as opposed to the gentle way that it represents, something that feels much bigger than you, and that it's like that, again, with the 10 of Pentacles, much bigger than you, that you can't see all the details of, but that you're just so grateful it's there. And this 2 of Cups can be a relationship. If you're not looking for a relationship, though, this could possibly mean something to do with just connectedness to opportunities and, whatever it is that makes your heart sing, where it's like you bring a full cup, and whatever it is, be it an environment, a job, what have you, a person, right? It's like 2 full cups meeting, right, in this middle. But it's like letting go of the lightning, letting go of the idea that there's something about the energy of it happening that is bigger than you, right? That's bigger than what's actually going on. So it's almost like remembering your magnitude as the magician. Remembering your magnitude as the magician. And it's almost, this is so interesting. I'm seeing like on a shoulder, right? Like you don't have an angel or a devil on your shoulder. You have the high priestess and the magician. So these could be guides that you're working with who embody that energy. But it's like you have this energy of all good things, but you have to disconnect from something internally that's telling you that the lightning is terrifying. Because until you do that, why is the lightning the metaphor? That's so interesting. I don't know, but it's there. And I just see, this is where I also feel like this is also a form of lightning, but it's one that's controlled, right? This is like a controlled spark in a way, right? 3-3-3-3 on the time, because you're seeing it from within you. And then it's like you're manifesting outwards. That's possibly a way that it could become the protagonist in this spread, is where you're missing out on you forget that you have that within you, right? You forget that this is you bringing something to life. The main lesson, though, again, King of Pentacles, you have everything within you. A lot of cards here suggest this. The Ace of Cups, the Star, the High Priestess, the Magician, the Empress, the Emperor, 10 of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. Like, you have a lot of what you need within you. Chris from Minopon Tarot talked about this in a reading a while back, but like if it's the Queen of Pentacles, she has resources, and you may not have a ton of resources. I'm in the, I'm in the midst of manifesting more myself. I get it. But it's like you have knowledge, you have experience, you have all of the things that you've done before that count for something still. So it's like, don't count yourself out by believing that the things that you've experienced and the skills that you've gained along the way count for nothing, because they count for something more than you might be realizing. And I feel like that is where you really step into your power. And your power just means your ability to manifest and create, yes, but to know what's right for you, to know what's right for you. Okay, so I'm just going to pull very quick clarifiers. I feel like this is such a succinct message. I'm just going to pull 3. Knight of Swords again. 10 of Wands again. Repeating energies, man. 5 of Wands. And there we go. Look at that. Look at this. Oh my goodness. OMG. Okay. So we have the Page of Pentacles, further to the point of like, you may feel like a bit of a beginner at something, but remember, there's no, like the storms pass, the lightning doesn't have to look the same anymore, right? So just remembering that. And this is like, it's almost like a small recognition of the value that you have, or the value that you offer something, or the way that you're showing up, right? And then beneath that is the Queen of Swords again, right? Like this protective clarity, 10 of Cups, really happy ending. And you know what I love about this too? So I'm hearing the really happy beginning. Okay, really happy beginning. Then we had the Justice card, as well as the Knight of Cups, and then the Magician again. It's like you're manifesting a really happy beginning. And one that just feels right, and that kind of does right by you as well. Now, before this, I kind of pulled out like this ending, right? Like you're moving towards, it's almost like moving away from, to be honest, right? It's like the lessons that you gained from this 10 of Wands and the 5 of Wands, a little bit of conflict, but it's like you're moving away from it because there's this wisdom and bigger picture that you see. So it's almost like you're moving away from these energies. And you have to remember not to carry them with you. Again, the Sword of Truth, that ace, right? Like take the truth of what happened in 3-6 on the time. The truth of what happened, the understanding, the perspective that you gained from those situations, because you no longer need to hit a target, right? It's not outside of you, it's within you. And this ace is here to remind you that it's an Ace of Cups that is within you. It is an ace, and it's not a target that's outside of you, right? And that's, what better way to enter into relationship or anything than remembering that relationship isn't a target outside of you. It's an understanding of your value. It's an understanding that you're enough. It's an understanding that if people think that you don't have enough or that you're not enough, why the fuck are they messing with you, right? Like getting into that place where it's like, instead of looking at things from that deficit and saying, well, this hurt and that and the other thing. Like, I get it. I've been through the ringer a few times. But when I, reflecting on things recently and just having a moment of being like, ugh, in terms of just like a little bit of a dip in perspective and all of that, let those things inform the positive register of knowing what you bring to the table, as opposed to feeling like things were just done to you or whatnot, right? I found it and I sent it to my friend because I felt like it was necessary, but I'll put the link in the description below to that meme where it's like, if I'm too much, go find less, right? Like, and it's not just in relationships, but like career, in jobs, in school, in all of these different things. If I'm too much, go find less, right? So, and it's remembering that there's something in you that when people say that you weren't enough, what they were actually saying is that they needed to find something different, but didn't word it that way. So which one are you going to believe? Because you're going to be here for a long time. Your life is going to last for a long time, generally speaking. So are you going to carry the less? Are you going to believe that you're less because somebody didn't like you once? Because something didn't work out at a job once? Because something happened the way that it did outside of your control, probably? I mean, we have choices, right? And that's where the Judgment card and the Hanged Man, it's like, you need to see all of these things for what they actually are, but make a decision from a place that elevates you and it transforms the way that you see yourself, right? Like, this is like an inner knowing, seeing yourself completely differently. So I feel like that's like, it's like this is a new beginning, right? It's like a happy beginning. It's so interesting that it came through that way. And again, we see the truth here, right? That Ace of Swords. Interesting that it's in a pairing as well. But whatever this is, there's new here. And I feel like it's for you. You'll know the High Priestess. It's like a knowing. Okay, so let me pull an affirmation card here. This reading is like a long. Alrighty. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please? Love speaks to me all through the day. Yes, absolutely. Fun thing for you to do. I still do this. That's, again, I've talked about it before, but that's why I have this tattoo, my little heart. I found hearts. I find hearts to this day. I'll be on hikes and I see them on the ground. I see them in coffee shops. I see them everywhere. Find your thing. Ask Spirit to show you how it will speak to you. My friend Steve started doing this with stars, and he would find stars everywhere, and he was astounded. This little code, find one thing that tells you that Spirit's speaking to you, smiling upon you, working with you. And, if you need something like that, an energy just to hold your hand for comfort when you feel like you're doing a hard thing, right? That's okay too. Ask for that. Just ask for that, right? When you don't know what to do, focus on love. Love is an infinite intelligence that will always help you if you let it. That's the part of deserving too, right? Like believing that you're worthy of being spoken to through incredible things, like the picture on the you're lovely today, blah, 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 whatever, right? Like, love is for everyone. Seeing those signs, seeing all of that stuff, right? I was driving home last night and I saw this adorable, it was so, I wanted to be like, you're doing great, sweetie, and like yell out the window, but I was like, don't do it. They were just so cute. They were, it was a young couple and they were holding hands, and you could just see like the way that one was looking at the other. It was a 40, so I was going quite slow. And then for any of my American friends, that's like, kilometers per hour, not miles per hour. But it's one of those things where these things will start to show themselves to you, but you have to be willing to speak the language of Spirit on Spirit's terms. And that's the thing too, is like where we get into this demanding of Spirit, right? You can say, speak to me in a specific way. Help me to understand. If stars are your thing, if hearts are your thing, whatever it is, make it so that when you see it, it elevates your vibration and takes it up 4141, right? So that it lifts the vibration for you. Okay. With love. Dearest you, a rigid tree branch breaks under strong winds, yet flexible seaweed survives powerful ocean swells. Right now, we gently remind you that being flexible is a good choice when faced with life's challenges. Definitely. Surrender your fixed ideas to Spirit, who knows what's in your highest good and can deliver to you what you need in the appropriate form. In this moment, rather than fighting or being too sure of your way working out, be a little looser and allow for another outcome. Compromise can be the best way forward if you are to learn new ways of doing and seeing. Stay aware, curious, and teachable. Take life on life's terms. Your purpose may push you in a direction not on your map. Let it. Be so flexible that no storm can uproot you. In the end, you will still be rooted in the world in abundance, and you will indeed experience the beauty that is all yours. We love you so much. Love it. Okay. Love it and you, my friends. So if this resonated, give it a like. I hope it did. Look for whatever it is, whatever your thing is, right? Yeah. Let love speak to you. Let love speak to you. Writing that down. Let love speak to you. My cat chirped in the background because she's like, yeah, let it. If this resonated, do give it a like and subscribe. I'd love to have you on the channel if you're not here already. If you are, thank you so much for joining. And as always, wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, I hope it finds you very, very well, my friends. Take care.